You are watching Allastrology, and this is the week of September 1st and the following 7 days. There it is. Right off the bat, we see that this is eclipse week. So we will touch on it quickly, shortly here in this video. But if you want more details, make sure that you go check out the eclipse video to get more information. Now, I have highlighted on this chart Uranus and Sedna. We're going to talk about them this week. They're a big deal. We also have Mercury at a critical degree to start the week off. We're going to talk about Jupiter for a minute or two there. Make our way to the eclipse at the end of the week, okay? And right at the beginning of the week, you see we've got Mercury heading towards it's sitting at 28 degrees. So what this means is that Mercury is conjunct Regulus. So Regulus tends to be like the big boss, the authority figure. Regulus in Leo especially believes that it is the king. It's quite dramatic and colorful. It's Leo energy. There might be something very unique, something that stands out. We think of the ringmaster. We think of entertainers, public figures, politicians. Right. So normally news, Mercury, information, social media, you could expect to hear some stuff. Children, fun, joy, creativity, romance, taking a risk with my body, as long as you're not taking that with underage people. Well, when Venus is in Leo energy, especially sitting here at 8 degrees, this is definitely emotional bonds, physical bonds, deeply bonded energy. Venus's desires, values, love, and desires, shared resources too. So Leo and Venus wants to play. She wants to have a good time. So Mercury's at 28, the details, the minutia, the information. And remember, Leo, romance, dating, relating, and mating. So there might be a little bit of that in there, right? Especially since with public figures, it's kind of a big deal. We see that the sun is going to be conjunct Pandora's box this week. So usually this is a can of worms. So we're details. Just remember, Virgo, all about the details. And the thing about those details is Virgo energy connects the dots. And when you have the dots, you see the dots and you can connect the dots, that's when you see the complete picture. And with Mercury entering Virgo this week, there will likely be, this is jobs as well, right? Not just service industry, but like the jobs data, the jobs reports, because Mercury is all about bringing in the reports, all about bringing in the data, all about the details, focused on the details. That's Mercury's job. So decisions and options, and possibly, I believe a rate decision has to be made this month, and it's because the job data has been bad. Sun conjunct Pandora's box. Jobs are really low. What happens is the Fed, their only tool to combat inflation is to raise interest rates. But when the jobs start to decline, then the Fed has to start easing, has to start saying, okay, we're going to lower the interest rate. And when that happens, it's not a good thing. The Fed is doing something they would not normally be doing because they're still fighting inflation. So this is where shit can get real tricky. The Fed probably has no other choice but to lower the interest rates. We have Mars in Libra, partnership energy. It's going to go to roughly 21 degrees by the end of the week. Keep in mind, malefic Mars takes action. And in Libra, it's cardinal energy. So Mars is throwing a square. It can create a T-square if you have got objects in Cancer and in Capricorn. Okay, so Mars can throw a difficult T-square to the Cancer energy in Capricorn. And so that takes me to this Mars squaring Jupiter. I think that Mars getting a square from Jupiter will lend Mars to possibly chill out a little bit, because Jupiter brings wisdom. It brings emotional wisdom. So yes, it's a square, but at the same time, there can be beneficial energy. Okay, there can be a benefit when Jupiter is talking to Mars. Jupiter is an authority figure, right? And Mars is not an authority figure. It's a soldier. It's a worker bee. It's a tool. Okay, so Mars takes orders basically from Jupiter, authority figure type of energy. Jupiter's going to make a move this week. It leaves the 18 degrees, which is the Virgo degree. It will move to 19 degrees on the 7th. Yeah, keep that date in mind. The 7th is important. That is the eclipse. Depending upon where you live in the world, September 7th, September 8th, Jupiter goes from 18 to 19 degrees. That is the Libra degree. So business partnerships, personal relationships. This is also Congress. It's lawyers. It's the Lady Justice, fairness, equality. Okay, 19 degrees. Keep in mind, 19 degrees being Libra is also open enemies. And it's important to keep this in mind because, well, it's just coming in strongly for me. September 2nd and September 6th written down here. This is going to be important. This is Gemini energy, Uranus, authority figure. In Gemini, the markets, stock market, the housing market, the markets in general, the information. It's business and trade and sales. It's usually specified to your local community, but Uranus is not a local community. It's Uranus and Gemini. So this is a global transportation, communication, global business, global shipping, supply chain. We think of the damn tariffs and the arrangements that have to be made, the reshuffling that has to be made for corporations. And the Gemini, which is my mind, your mind, how I learn, Gemini energy. This will be a big deal this week, okay? Sedna starts retrograding in Gemini on the 2nd of September, okay? Sedna is feminine energy. It's wounds of the past. It's abuse of feminine energy, basically raped and left for dead, okay? Other than abuse, it's a betrayal, a deep betrayal. When it's somebody that you know and possibly related to, somebody that you know, that you trusted, someone that you know that you felt safe around. It's a real betrayal when that sort of stuff happens. It just really adds to the trauma. And so that's kind of that Sedna energy. And with Uranus next to it, it's also going to be going retrograde. Uranus begins its retrograde on the 6th of September. So this is setting up, this whole week is a setup for the eclipse, which is on the 7th, 7/8th, depending upon where you live in the world. So Uranus and Gemini, shocks and surprises with the markets. Uranus typically represents like the surprises, not just disruptions, but shocks and surprises. And yes, some of these things can be people making mentions on social media because that's Gemini energy as well. But we always just have to kind of be prepared for the shock and surprise that Uranus always promises to bring. Just tells us we got to keep our mind flexible. We got to keep our options open so that we have options to begin with, and always have kind of like a backup to the backup plan type of thing. Okay. September 7th, eclipse is in Pisces, and it happens at 15 degrees. This is a lunar eclipse. It is a total lunar eclipse. It is a North Node total lunar eclipse. And it's a blood moon eclipse. The moon happens to have that harvest moon sort of red glow to it, right? The real information, though, the real data is in the degrees. It's in the degrees. It's 15 degrees. This is news and information. Now, News and information with Pisces can be a lot of things because Pisces is public figures and politicians and judges, right? But it's usually someone who can be in charge of institutional energy because we think of Neptune and we think of and Jupiter. So lunar eclipse is usually an emotional event. You follow? Usually an emotional event. Eclipse, we think of the big release and the big let go and the ending of a cycle. Public figures, though, and these can be heads of state, these can be presidents, okay? It can be.